This is lecture 2 of unit 2, money and banking. In the last lecture we did money supply and the components of money supply, from where questions of either 1 or 3 marks are asked. In this lecture we will do banking, from where you will find questions of either 3 or 6 marks. So it is extremely important from exam perspective as well as for understanding our economy in a better way. So for understanding the banking system of our country, first you should know what a bank is. So a bank is a financial or monetary institution that performs two important functions. These are the functions of receiving deposits from the public and of granting loans. So any financial institution performing only these two functions will be called bank. In the banking system, there are generally two types of banks: central bank and commercial banks. Central bank is at the apex of the banking system of a country because it regulates and controls all the other banks in the country. It is the bank of the government. In India, the central bank is Reserve Bank of India. So it deals with government or with the commercial banks. It does not deals with public directly. Okay, and commercial banks work under the guidelines and regulation provided by the central bank. Okay, there are several commercial banks in India like PNB, Axis Bank, SBI, Oriental Bank, Punjab and Sindh Bank, etc. So these all are commercial banks. They deals with public. They accept deposits from the public and give loans to the public. All right. Whereas central bank deals with government, or with commercial bank they does not deal with public. Okay, and there is only one central bank, whereas there are several commercial banks. So here I have explained the banking system in a very succinct way. You can see that at the top is Reserve Bank of India, which is the central bank of our country. It is owned and operated by government, and its main aim is to promote social welfare. Okay, whereas the main aim of commercial banks is profit maximization. Commercial banks are owned either by government or private sector, and their main aim is profit maximization. There are several functions that central bank perform, and there are several other functions that commercial banks perform. We will do all the functions performed by central bank in the next lecture. In this lecture, we will just do commercial banks and the functions of commercial banks. So for now, remember that commercial banks are the banks that deals with general public. It accepts the deposit and advanced loans to general public, and it perform a very important function of credit creation. All right. So here you can see what are commercial bank. These are those financial or monetary institution, okay, which perform the function of accepting deposits from the public and of granting or advancing loans to them. And why does a bank advance loans to the public? It is so that the general public can make some sort of investment. If you will go in a bank and you will ask for a loan to make some charity, the bank won't give you. Okay, the bank gives loan only for productive purpose. Okay, only if you want to make some sort of investment. Okay, from where the bank think that you will have a repayable capacity. Okay, only on those cases bank provides you money. Okay, so that general public can do some investment and can earn some extra money. All right. So, what is the main aim of bank? The main aim of bank is to maximize profit, that is of profit maximization. Okay, so the banks are receiving deposit from the public and are granting loan to the public in order to maximize their profit. That's why they are giving loan only for productive purposes like investment. All right, they won't give you loan for the purposes from where it does not feel that you will give it back to the bank. All right. So if a question comes to you for defining commercial banks, I hope that you can easily define it. It is any monetary or financial institution which is accepting deposits from the public and advance loan to the public. Why? For making investment, so that the public can make investment. And why it is doing so? In order to earn maximum profit. And the examples of commercial banks are PNB, Axis Bank, etc. Such question generally comes as a one marker. So remember this definition, right? There's nothing sort of remembering it. You can just understand it and write as per your understanding. All right. So now here you can see that this is a commercial bank. It is accepting deposits from the public and is granting loans to the public. Okay. So there are two important terms in order to understand the major function of commercial bank, that is of credit creation, right? I told you the three functions now. The first function was of accepting deposits from the public, second was of granting loans to the public, and the third important was of credit creation. Now what is that credit creation? For that you should remember two terms. Now what are they? Let's discuss. See, whenever we deposit our surplus money with banks, then that deposit is called primary deposit. Okay, so whatever people are depositing with bank will be called primary deposit. Now if there is a person who wants loan from the bank and he has all the collateral and other requirements that bank require for loan, he has everything, so the bank will not directly hand cash to the person. What the bank will do, they will open an account in the name of the borrower and they will transfer that money into that account. So the transfer of money from bank to the account of the borrower is called secondary deposit. Okay, and the creation of secondary deposit, that is also called derivative deposit, is called credit creation. So for now, just remember that there are two types of deposits: primary deposits and secondary deposits. Primary deposit are those deposit that people deposit with bank. Okay, so when we deposit our surplus money to the bank, it is called primary deposit. All right, and when bank grant loans, then instead of giving cash, they open an account in the name of the person who aspires to have loan. So the loan amount which is deposited or transferred by the bank to the account of borrower is called secondary deposit. All right, so I hope that this concept is clear to you. When we are depositing our money to bank, it is primary deposit, and when bank is depositing money to the account of the person who wants loan, then that is called secondary deposit. And the creation of this secondary deposit is also called derivative deposit, and this process of creation of derivative deposits is what credit creation actually is. In order to understand credit creation in a better way, you should know about three terms. These are cash reserve ratio, statutory liquidity ratio, and legal reserve ratio. So see, cash reserve ratio is that fraction of total deposit that the commercial banks by law are required to keep with the central bank. Okay, so suppose the total deposit of a commercial bank, this is a central bank, okay, and these are commercial banks, right? So suppose that the total deposit in a day was rupees 100, okay, and there is a particular ratio that is decided by the central bank as cash reserve ratio. Suppose it is 20%, okay, so then 20% of the total deposit, that will be rupees 20, okay, are required by the commercial banks to keep with central bank. Okay, so cash reserve ratio is that part of total deposit which the commercial banks are required to keep with the central bank, and it is a legal requirement, they must keep it. All right, now the second term is statutory liquidity ratio. Now what it is, see, the banks has to keep some liquid assets with themselves as well, okay, on a daily basis as a percentage of total deposit. Why? In order to meet their daily requirements. Some people will come in order to take their funds, so the bank need to keep liquid assets so that they can meet their daily requirements. They cannot grant each and everything that is coming to them as loan. First of all, they have to keep a part with the central bank and a part with itself to meet the daily requirements of people. Then and only the rest acts as deposit can be lent by the bank. All right, so these two measures are required by any bank to keep with themselves. Now what is legal reserve ratio? See, legal reserve ratio is that fraction of deposits of commercial bank which is legally compulsory for the commercial banks to keep in the form of cash reserve ratio and statutory liquidity ratio. So that is called legal reserve ratio, right? So it is simply the fraction of deposits of commercial bank that is legally mandatory for them to keep with central bank in itself in the form of CRR and SLR respectively. Okay, so if a question in your examination asks you that is LRR equal to, there is this question frequently asked as a hot question. Okay, so if a question is asking you that is LRR equal to cash reserve ratio plus statutory liquidity ratio, then what you will do, true or false? It would be false. It is not equal to the sum of CRR and SLR. At higher level, you will know that legal reserve ratio contains various other things as well, various other measures as well. These two are not the only measures that it have. So LRR is not equal to the sum of CRR plus SLR. For now, just for the sake of simplicity, we are telling we are taking it into consideration. We are only studying the two components of legal reserve ratio as cash reserve ratio and statutory liquidity ratio. There are other things as well that are there in legal reserve ratio which we are not studying right now, which we will see in the later stages. Alright, for now just remember that cash reserve ratio and statutory liquidity ratio are required to are required to be kept by the bank. Okay, CRR with central bank and SLR with itself. Okay, and these are called legal reserves. Okay, so legal reserves are legal reserve ratio is that fraction of deposit that the commercial bank are legally compulsory to keep with central bank and with itself. Okay, so now I think you are at the position to understand the process of credit creation in a very well way. So let's get started with the process of credit creation. So when a commercial bank receives deposit, it keeps a part of it with the central bank and a part with itself. These are called legal reserves. Okay, so whenever a bank is receiving deposits, what it do first? Suppose it is receiving the deposits of rupees 100 crore, right? So and suppose that cash reserve ratio CRR is 10%, right? And this is 10%, and statutory liquidity ratio SLR is also 10%. Okay, so 10% of 100 will be 10 and 10% of 100 will be again 10. Okay, so it will give keep rupees 10 crore with the central bank and rupees 10 crore with itself as statutory liquidity ratio. Now the left out amount, that is of rupees 80 crore, will be lent by the commercial banks. Okay, so first of all, whenever it receives deposit, it keeps a part of it with the central bank and a part with itself, and these together are called legal reserves. Okay, so this is what I told you till now. Okay, so whenever a commercial bank receives deposit, it keeps a part of it with the central bank and a part with itself, and these are called legal reserves. Now the money lent come back to it as deposits. Now whatever the money it is lending, right, it comes back to the central bank. How it comes back to the central bank? People are taking loan in order to make some sort of investment. All right, so the people who are receiving the money, right, will have that money as a surplus amount, so again they will keep that money with bank in the form of fresh deposits. Okay, so that will be a fresh deposit with the bank. So the money that the bank is lending is coming back to the bank, okay, in the form of fresh deposits. Now again it keeps a part of it with the central bank and a part with itself, and then lends the rest. Then again this money comes back to the bank, and again it do the same thing. It repeats this process again and again till the time when, here you can see, till the time when your sum of legal reserves becomes equal to the initial deposits. Okay, till that time this process continues, right? I'll explain to you through a numerical example, but for now just remember that this process continues. Okay, and in this way bank give loan which is many a time the original deposit, and the total creation of credit will be 1 upon legal reserve ratio. Okay, so let's understand it with the help of a numerical example. Then this will be more clear to you that why I have written all these things for explaining credit creation. So for now, just remember that if a bank is receiving primary deposits of rupees 100, it will keep some CRR. For example, if cash reserve ratio is 10%, then it will keep rupees 10 with central bank, and if the statutory liquidity ratio is 20%, then it will keep rupees 20 with itself, and the left out amount, that is 70, will be its excess reserves, and it will give loans of those excess reserves. Okay, so it will not directly give loan of these initial deposits, okay, these primary deposits. It will give loan after deducting the amount of cash reserve ratio and statutory liquidity ratio from it. All right, so the excess reserves will be the amount that will be lent by the bank. Okay, so now let's understand this credit creation with the help of a numerical example. Suppose initially a bank received rupees 1000. Okay, so this is initial primary deposit. So initially the bank is receiving rupees 1000, and if suppose that legal reserve ratio, so here I have written it incorrectly, it would it won't be CRR, it would be LRR, so legal reserve ratio. Suppose that legal reserve ratio is 20%, so it will keep rupees 200 with itself, because 20% of 1000 will be 200. Okay, so it will keep rupees 200 as legal reserve ratio, of which some part will be with central bank and some part will be with itself. Okay, and then the left out amount, that is the excess reserves, will be 1000 minus 200, that is equal to 800. So 800 is initial excess reserves. Then again this 800 comes back to the bank in the form of fresh deposit, because what bank is doing, bank is opening an account in the name of that person who wants loan. So again this 800 is coming to the bank. Okay, this 800 is coming to the bank in this way, as well as when the person who is receiving this loan is using this amount for investment, then this money is going back to the account of those persons to which the person who wants loan is making payment. Okay, so here this 800 will come back to the bank, then again it will keep 20%, okay, as legal reserve ratio. So 20% of 800 will be 160. So then the left out amount will be 640. Then again the 640 will come in the form of fresh deposits to bank. How the 640 will come? Because the person who wants loan is using this money for investment. Okay, and when he is paying that money, for example, let's take one more simple example. Okay, if a person is taking loan in order to make one hostel, right, for earning some money in the future. So for building that hostel, he will require various factors of production like labor, right, and he will also require capital and various other things like material, okay, cement, bricks, etc. These things will be required by that person. So when he is receiving loan of 640, what he will do, he will make payments to laborers, he will make payment to the capital, he will make payment for everything, the machines, the material, etc. So this 640 will again come back to the account of those persons who are receiving this money, okay, that the person who has taken loan is using, okay, to pay, to make the payment. So it will come in the account of laborers, in the account of capital owners, in the account of people who owns the material. Okay, so it will come as a fresh deposit with the bank. Again it will keep 120 rupees as legal reserves, that is 20% of primary deposit. 640 it will keep as legal reserves with itself. Okay, and then the left out will be the access reserves, that again the bank will give us loan. This process will continue till the time the total of your legal reserves become equal to the initial deposit. Okay, so how much credit the bank will create from initial deposit of just 100,000 will depend upon your multiplier. Now what is this multiplier? Let's see. Multiplier is represented by the symbol of K in economics. Okay, and multiplier is 1 upon legal reserve ratio, LRR. Okay, so how much total credit the bank will create depends upon its legal reserve ratio. Okay, so here in this example legal reserve ratio was 20%. Okay, so it means it is 1 upon 0.2, right? So hence it is equal to 5, right? So multiplier is 5. So credit creation is delta D is always equal to delta R into multiplier. Okay, and what is this delta R? These are initial access reserves. So here you can see initial access reserve was rupees 800. Okay, so 800 into K, that is multiplier, that is 5, will be equal to 4000. So the total credit creation will be equal to 4000. Here you can see, right? So I hope that this is clear to you, that this process continues till what time? Till the time when your total legal reserves become equal to the primary deposit, the initial deposits, initial primary deposits. Okay, so here the multiplier was 5, that's why the total will become here 1000 into 5, that is equal to 5000. Here it will become 200 into 5, that is equal to 1000. Okay, here it will become 800 into 5, which is equal to 4000. I hope that this process is clear to you. Here this is legal reserve ratio, remember this. Okay, Now in our example, the size of credit creation is 5 times, and how we got to know it? We got to know it by finding the value of multiplier. So multiplier is 1 upon legal reserve ratio. It is not cash reserve ratio, it is 1 upon legal reserve ratio. Okay. So 1 upon legal reserve ratio was given to us as 20%. We know what 20% is. 20% means 20 upon 100. Okay, so it will be equal to 0.2. Okay, so when we will do 1 upon 0.2, we get multiplier as 5. Okay, so it means that the credit creation will be 5 times. All right, so it will be 5 times. That's why from the initial deposit of 1000, the total deposit of 5000 is there. Okay, and the total credit creation is equal to multiplier into initial access reserves, which is equal to 5 into 800, that is equivalent to 4000. Here you can see in this example 800 into 5, which is equal to 4000. Okay, now you can continue this process till the time when your total legal reserves is equal to 1000. You can stop it at that time only, and you can do the sum of all these things. You will find that the numbers are exactly the same that we are finding by finding the value of multiplier. Okay, so by directly multiplying this with the value of multiplier, we are getting this, and the same value we will get if we will repeat these rounds till the time when the total of cash is legal reserve ratio become equal to the initial primary deposit. The answer will be same by both the things, but for the sake of simplicity, we always do it by the means of multiplier. Okay, that is 1 upon legal reserve ratio. Okay, so this is clear to you. So that's all for this video. Thanks for watching. I hope that this entire process of credit creation is clear to you. This question is extremely important because it is asked for directly 6 marks also, right? So hence it is extremely important. Please try to solve this question of credit creation on your own by taking some numerical examples. If you have any confusion, then please comment down below. Thanks for watching, and keep learning, keep progressing. Thank you.